What up, y'all? Heidi back again. I was just sitting here getting ready to start my day, and I got an idea to make a short video. Hopefully I keep it short. This is a new t-shirt. Kind of looks like my cat Vincent. Alright, here we go. Okay, I am sitting in a rest area in Illinois, near Bloomington, Illinois. It's one of my absolute favorite rest areas because of all the greenery. You can see here, it's pretty, I won't say it's large, but it's a really nice size. It's plenty of parking for drivers. There are 2 rows of parking, as you can see. There's this first row where I'm in. There's the second row there. And then over that way, hang on a second. Yeah, if you look over here, you can see the rest area. Areas for cars. There's a really nice building over there with restrooms and stuff. And then there's a really nice picnic area with multiple places for people to hang out. They're like little tables with awnings over them, and this rest area I think was built in the early 1960s. It's kind of got that architecture look to it. All right, so just to get an idea, I'm gonna turn this down. It's pretty warm out today. I think it's in the high 70s, not too hot. All right, so this is my process. Basically, when I'm out here on the road, I drive between Ohio and South Dakota, which includes the northern states. So that is Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, South Dakota, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Kentucky. That's mainly the states where I travel. And what I try to do is plan each day so that when I stop at the end of the day, I have a really nice rest area like this where I can stay. I prefer rest areas because they're much more quiet, you know, compared to a truck stop where there's a lot more parking available, a high concentration of truck drivers at the truck stops. The parking spaces are very close together. There's a lot of trash. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of people milling about all night long. I don't like that environment. I don't feel at peace in that environment. It doesn't feel like the safest environment. I'm not saying it's not safe. I'm just saying when I'm surrounded by all these other drivers and crowded together, I just don't like it. It's just not a good vibe. But these rest areas across the country, you know, there's more of a focus on a natural element with trees and grass, and you know, they're more friendly towards tourists, right? So it's a whole different vibe. So I always try to find a nice rest area like this to stay at night. And if I am in a different location where there's not a rest area available, a lot of times I will try to find, you know, a lot of times I'll try to find a shopping area that has a big parking lot where I'm not going to get kicked out, whether it be a Walmart or there's lots of shopping areas around the country that have a lot of stores that are closed these days. So they have empty storefronts with huge parking lots that no one's really using. A lot of times this is in rural areas in smaller towns. And if I park there for the night in a smaller town, in a rural area, in a parking lot of an old shopping center that really no one's using, the locals don't seem to mind as much, and they're more friendly towards truck drivers. Whereas if I try to find a Walmart parking lot, a lot of the Walmarts are banning truck drivers from spending the night because they don't want drivers coming in there, throwing trash on the ground, tearing up their asphalt, that kind of thing. Anyway, talking about where I can park, another thing I love to do is I'll just drive all the way to my customer. Before I get to my customer, I'll look them up on Google Earth. A lot of these customers I go to frequently, and I'm very familiar with their facilities, so I know if they have room for overnight parking. But if I am not familiar, I'll look them up on Google Earth, and that'll allow me to get an overview of the property, what streets are around that property. Is there somewhere I can park off property? Can I park on property? So those are the kinds of things I do. Anyway, getting back to how I start out my days. So yeah, hopefully I wake up in a beautiful rest area like this. This is my bed back here. This is basically a full-size bed. I sleep back here. Sometimes the cats sleep with me. Sometimes they don't. The dog usually sleeps back here with me. She likes to sleep at the end of the bed. So usually I wake up and I have animals piled all over me. Vincent's up here right now. Sometimes they'll sleep up here in this upper bunk. Sometimes they'll sleep up here in the front seats. So it's nice and cozy for them. But anyway, my process. I'll wake up in the morning. Usually my back's pretty sore from driving all day the day before. So I'll usually take a few minutes to just kind of stretch out. And then I'll get up. I immediately feed these guys. I have this really nice cabinet where I keep their food dishes. And then I keep their food down here. So I'll get that out, set it up here on this cat climbing tree that I made out of cutting boards. Set up their dishes, get their food ready, go ahead and feed them. Once I have that process done, then usually I'll be doing a little more stretching, come up here and start cleaning myself up. So usually I'll sit down here in the driver's seat, I'll get out my wipes, and I'll start going over my hair to kind of smooth out the bed head, and then I'll wash my face. And at that point, I'll start taking off my pajamas, which I keep up here in this cabinet. So usually I have a night shirt, a pair of pajamas. So I'll just take those off and put them away. Usually I have these curtains pulled right here. These curtains are usually in the morning. I usually have them covering the windows so nobody can look in here and see me as I'm getting dressed. So I'll put away my pajamas, then I'll get out, clean stuff, and then usually I'll stand here and I'll clean myself. Just give myself a quick, wipe down with my wipes. Because obviously there's no showers here. So that's the thing about being a long-haul trucker. I can't get access to a shower every morning, it's a real bummer. I prefer to get up and have a nice hot shower in the morning, which helps me stretch and wake up and that kind of thing. But because of where I park in these rest areas, I don't have access to a shower in the morning. Even if I did stay at the truck stops where I could get a shower, the lines for the showers in the morning are so long that it's pointless. So basically, you park at a truck stop where there's like 80 or 200 parking spaces. That means there's 80 or 200 drivers parked there, sometimes more. A lot of those guys walk into the truck stop in the morning and want to get a shower. So they'll have, let's say they have 200 parking spaces, they only have like 20 showers. So you can do that math. So I've given up on that a long time ago. So usually what I try to do is in the middle of the day when I stop to get fuel, I'll run into a truck stop, because in the middle of the day, the truck stops aren't full because that's when everybody's out working and driving. So usually in the middle of the day, I'll stop off to get fuel, then I'll run inside and get a shower real quick, and that's just the best way to do it. And sometimes I don't get a shower every single day, and when that happens, I just get out my bucket that I use for trash. I'll boil some water in my little kettle here, fill the bucket with warm water about halfway. Then I can get up here, get out my shower bag where I have soap and shampoo and stuff. And then I'll close these curtains completely so no one can see me. And then I'll just stand here and wash up, which works extremely well. All right, what else do we have to talk about here? So yeah, once I get myself all cleaned up, try to look presentable, put some decent clothing on, then I'll go ahead and take Phoebe out, do a nice little walk so she can go to the bathroom, and then I'll check the clock. So right now my break just finished, so we're required by law to take a 10-hour break. So if I click on this green bar, this shows me being in the sleeper. So we'll click the bar, and if you look down here, it says I was in the sleeper for 10 hours and 18 minutes. The law requires that I take a 10-hour break. That has to be a combination of in the sleeper or off duty. So I've got my break in, and the log just rolled over, and now I have a full 11 hours to drive. I'm allowed to drive 11 hours each day. I'm allowed to work 14 hours each day. So basically I'm allowed to drive 11 hours, and then I can work an extra 3 hours on top of that if I need to. This 8 hour, that means I'm allowed to work for 8 hours before I have to log a break. So out of the 11 hours I have available to drive, if I want to, I could go drive for 8 hours straight, but then I have to take a 30-minute break. Then I can go back and finish off the other 3 hours that I have remaining. So basically, I usually take my break. What I'll do is I'll start driving. I'll drive for a few hours, 5, 6 hours, whatever. Then I'll stop to get fuel somewhere. And when I stop to get fuel, I'll go ahead and log the 30-minute lunch break. That will meet the requirement here to have a break after 8 hours. And then I go right back to working. Then I'll have a full 14 hours. They give me a full 14 hours to do my work. I have 14 hours where I'm allowed to drive for 11 hours. So within that 14-hour window, I try to get 11 hours of driving in. If I even have 11 hours to work. So, for example, if I have a load that's only 500 miles, it's not going to take me 11 hours to drive 500 miles. So maybe that, instead of being an 11-hour driving day, it might be a 10-hour driving day, that kind of thing. Anyway, that's kind of how it works. So, as I've talked about in other videos, we live in this truck, me, the dog, the 2 cats. Hey, sweetheart. We live in here, and as you can see, they're pretty comfortable. This is where we live while I'm working out here on the road driving. And usually I'll come out and work for about 2 weeks straight. I'll just work straight through as long as I can. Sometimes I'll work 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days in a row. Sometimes 12 days in a row. I don't bother worry about taking any time off. I just work straight through until I run out of time. And then I'll take a break, and then I'll get right back to it. But yeah, we'll be out here working for about 2 weeks, and then I'll go home for about 3 or 4 days. And while I'm at home, I stay in my van that I've been building. And then when I come back, we're back in the truck, living in the truck. We live in here. So this is it. It's not a very big space. But as you can see here, the animals are very well adjusted to living in this space. The dog, I take her out usually 3 or 4 times a day to take a walk and go to the bathroom. I have a litter box down here for the cats that I change every day. And then the cats, I don't let them outside every day. Usually what I try to do is usually when I'm at a really nice customer in an industrial park that's really open and spacious with some green space where there's not a bunch of people and not a bunch of equipment, I'll go ahead and let them out of the truck and let them run around. I'll just open up the doors, let them get out and run around, and they'll go and play for a little while, and then both of them will come back usually within about 30 minutes or so. They're pretty trustworthy as far as that goes. But if I'm in a crowded area, like for example this rest area, as you can see, there are a lot of trucks parked here. I would not let the cats out here because of all the equipment, and people might scare them, and they would run off into this grassy area with these flowers and stuff, and then I would be sitting here waiting for them to come back out. And if they're too frightened, they might not come back out. Then I have to wait. So I don't let them out in spaces like this. I only let them out in areas where there's not a bunch of equipment, not a bunch of people, and an area where I can kind of keep an eye on them. So that's how I do it. All right, well, that's all I got for right now. This is how we do it. This is how we live. It's not ideal. I mean, I enjoyed this job. I enjoy the driving. Ideally, I would love to be at home all the time. However, in order to survive in this economy and to make a decent income, this is what I'm having to do. And I'm used to doing it. I've been doing it on and off for 25 years, so it's not like it's unfamiliar. It's very familiar to me. The animals keep me company. and they make everything so much better. Just having them around to comfort me and entertain me, it makes it feel more like home, having them here with me. Hey, Arthur. All right, that's all I got. Well, I just thought I'd make that video, talk about my process, what it looks like in the morning when I get up, where I stay for the night usually, and how I'm able to live out here on the road and do this. All right, that's all I got. Hope you all are having a good day, and talk to you later. Bye.